So, of course, the consultants, the bankers, the software engineers that so often make up the applicant pool to the world's top business schools, but thinking about who you'll be sitting next to and sharing this remarkable 2-year MBA experience. And I'm delighted to welcome Beth Owens. Beth is a graduate from Notre Dame's Mendoza School from the class of 2015. And Beth, you did undergrad at University of Virginia in Foreign Affairs, which served you well for a career that you built over 10 years with the Defense Intelligence Agency. Welcome to CentreCourt, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Matt. So I came to the business school process as a career changer, like you just said. My undergraduate degree was in Foreign Affairs and African American Studies. It was a double major. My parents were, very excited when I called home to tell them that. There was a lot of question about what kind of jobs you get with those majors. And luckily for them and for me, there's still sort of a niche market out there for weird esoteric knowledge about the world, and it's the US government. So after graduation, I ended up getting this job as an intelligence officer with the Department of Defense. The Defense Intelligence Agency, a lot of people have never heard of. It's sort of like the CIA, but specifically for the Defense Department customer. So Defense Department policymakers and military units out there in the field. And that led to sort of this amazing 10-year career that I never really anticipated. DIA was the first job that I applied to as a senior in college, and I just was incredibly lucky to get the job. I spent, 7 of those 10 years working on the Middle East. I spent, almost a year and a half to 2 years of time, not all at once, in Baghdad, supporting the U.S. military operation there. I was able in 2011 to be the very last DIA employee on the ground in Iraq when sort of the war ended at that time. I think sort of still going on today, but really got to put a great cap on this amazing career that I had, where I sort of saw something from beginning to end and felt like I was having, a lot of, an impact on the world. But I came out of that thinking that this wasn't the only career I ever wanted to have. And it wasn't something I ever sort of set out to do or thought when I was little, it's what I would do when I grow up. So I sort of started thinking, what comes next? How do I figure out what I might want to do if I wanted to make a change? And that's where business school came in. I had gotten into management at DIA by then. I was managing other people and managing organizations and processes, but I didn't really think that I had any of the real training to do that. And so I started looking into graduate programs that I thought were going to make me sort of a better, well-rounded leader, a better manager, and also to learn more about a part of the world that I'd never really studied, which was the business world. And so I, took the time, I did a lot of research, and I just looked at, I'm not sure what I would want to do when I, finish school. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up yet. I was 30 at the time, 32 by the time I finally left to go to business school. But I still felt like there was an entire part of the world that I just didn't know anything about. And that's what drew me to an MBA in particular.
And I guess you at some point had a conversation with your parents about next steps in your career, whether now there's certainly with the role that you now have at Procter & Gamble and working on team finance for Target, there's any number of P&G products probably in your parents' bathroom, kitchen, and elsewhere. So
yes.
So
something
business school for you was really about making that career transition.
It was 100%. I actually knew of P&G when I applied to Notre Dame. I had it in mind that I might want to go there. I'm from Cincinnati originally, so that helped a lot. P&G is a Cincinnati company, has been there for almost 200 years. So I sort of grew up knowing that this, giant global company was right here in my backyard and making things that are pretty tangible to everyone I know. We make Tide, we make Crest, we make, Pantene, things that are a part of everyday life. So it was something really tangible to me as I thought about the business school transition and what one might do coming out of business school. So at that point, my parents loved this idea, obviously, because it was something they could understand a little bit better than what I had been doing with the Defense Department. But I started to think about where I might want to go to school and, I didn't know a lot about the business world, just to be, honest. None of my friends at UVA had been business majors. I really only knew what I saw, in the news or when I read things, and it wasn't always great. And so I was trying to figure out, where would it be the right place for me to go? And as I started thinking about what might be important to me, the thing that kept coming back to me was this sense of purpose that was really critical to me in thinking about where I would go and in what I would do after I graduated. And so I just started looking for schools that I felt like were going to really sort of underscore and help me develop that side of a business career that was focused on the good that business can do in the world. I wanted to learn about this world, but I also wanted to make sure that I, could still focus on things I was passionate about and learn things that were ultimately going to be used for good and to make the world a better place. And that was how I came across Notre Dame.
I talked earlier about the different voices that you'll find in an MBA classroom, those bankers, consultants, software engineers. Do you feel that as you reflect back, that there was that shared sense of purpose? You'd all had a different path that had led you to Mendoza and an MBA at Notre Dame, but that was a common thread for all of you?
I do think that that's true. I think Notre Dame really does an incredible job in the Mendoza School at looking for applicants who want to make a difference in the world. And it's not, one of the things that I loved about the program is that it's not just, they're not just waiting for you to do that after you leave, but they're looking for people who are going to make an impact and contribute while you're there for those 2 years. So a large part, of my time at Notre Dame was spent on, with my classmates, making the community better, making the school better, working to provide feedback, to be involved, to really develop the program and to be involved in whatever way we could in the South Bend community, the Notre Dame community, the Mendoza community, because that's sort of what's expected. It is all about how you can be a force for good in the world, even from day one on campus. And I think that when they recruit, that's one of the sort of underlying themes in the ethos of the business program, and it really comes through in the people that come to the program. And even though, we have bankers, consultants, people that came from the IT world, a lot of, athletes, a lot of veterans. Notre Dame is a big veteran recruiting program. And the thing that sort of ties everything together is people coming with this mindset of wanting to make a difference and do good in the world.
Right. Now, of course, embedded in that was your own experience with the Business on the Front Lines program, and you're explaining that you went to Lesotho in South Africa, and it's a program where you continue to influence and guide and have impact.
It is. So Business on the Front Lines is sort of an immersive 2-mod long, so an entire semester, 3.5 months of the school year that's focused on taking all of the business skills that students have learned and really putting them to use in a real world problem. So the school partners with NGOs, nonprofits, private foundations all around the world to put students to use addressing sort of a post-conflict society and how business can be a force for stabilization and progress. And so in my case, my team was assigned to a small NGO in Lesotho in Southern Africa, Touching Tiny Lives, a great organization focused on childhood nutritional intervention in a society that was just ravaged by the HIV epidemic. And so we traveled to Lesotho for 2 weeks during our spring break of our second year of the MBA program. But we spent 7 weeks before that working with the partner every week, really looking at the business problem they had given us, doing research, developing a hypothesis, working through all of the possible things that might be, that we could use to bring our education to bear on this problem. And then we spent 2 weeks on the ground working with them, doing interviews, really trying to better understand the community. And then the following 7 weeks, continuing to work and provide a set of recommendations back to that partner. So that was my experience when I was a second year in the MBA program. I ended up being able to travel back to Lesotho that summer after graduation before I started in my job with Procter & Gamble to go with my professor and another classmate to keep working recommendations we'd given, that was just an incredible experience to sort of keep pushing and keep trying to, implement real change, not just, we've done the course and now we've checked the box. And then over the years, I've graduated 5 years ago. I've been involved with Business on the Front Lines a little bit here and there as an interviewer for students. Students in the program have to apply to get into the course. And then this year, I was finally able to serve as an advisor. So every team has 1 or 2 advisors, either faculty or alumni, who travel with them and spend, and work with the students the entire semester. Just, there as sort of a teaching support element, there to, help them think through problems. We're in all of their calls with the partner. And then we travel with them. So this year I was able to work with the team that was going to Colombia to work with an NGO there called Paso Colombia, which is looking at sustainable peace in Colombia's peace process with the FARC. And so, now all of a sudden, 5 years later, I'm getting to go and be a part, be involved with students every week in the educational process. But then also my company was great enough to let me take 2 weeks and travel to Colombia with them and stay involved with this program and really see sort of, stay connected to Notre Dame and keep doing things that sort of bring forward that sense of purpose that I love, while also, I can still do my everyday job, in a major multinational corporation.
Well, we'll talk about that role and the role that a business school made to help achieve that sort of transition. But obviously, the business skill sets that you wanted to develop after a 10-year career with the Defense Intelligence Agency, but on a personal level, personal development, a project like Business on the Front Lines, what do you feel that you really learned about yourself through the MBA?
I think that one of the things I learned is, well, most importantly, was how to take some of the skills that I had in the government and transition them to things beyond that. But also, like, an MBA program is full of a lot of leaders. Everybody's coming there, especially at a top tier MBA. Everyone was the best. Everyone is, is ambitious. They're there to grow in their career. So I learned a lot about how to be a leader among leaders. And a lot of times that's learning about sort of the emotional skills that it takes to understand when you need to lead actively, when you need to step back, how a group performs best, how you balance your ambition with someone else's ambition, so that the goal is to make sure everybody's working towards the best outcome. And so I think I learned a lot of, like, sort of EQ about how to balance out, my own sort of wants and tendencies with everyone else on the team to make sure that we ultimately served our partners really well, served our communities really well, served the classroom or the school, whatever it was that I was working on. I think so much of it was about that collaborative leadership and working with other students. So much of business school is group work. Just really how to work well with others. I think that is one of the most important skills in business today. And the MBA program was just incredible. It's sort of really driving that home in every experience that I had.
Right. Now the Mendoza MBA and the summer internship opened up the doors at P&G, and a career that you're now flourishing in. Does it continue to then support you in those next steps of your career? Do you find yourself thinking back to leading among leaders, or particular courses, and how you then apply them in the current context?
It does, all the time. So yeah, Notre Dame was obviously very critical in getting my current employment, not only just in the normal recruiting process, but also because the Notre Dame Alumni Network is just, it's incredible. It's a new family that you're going to choose for yourself, and you're going to be a part of it for the rest of your life. So that alumni network is what drew me into the recruiting process at P&G. They're the ones that sort of, walked me through the recruiting process, through my internship, met with me weekly, mentors from all over the company, and still today help guide and mentor me as I go through my career. Notre Dame is one of the most represented companies in finance at P&G. So I rely on those people all the time, and those relationships that were built sort of on that shared experience at Notre Dame. But I also find myself thinking back all the time to things that, from the program, especially, sort of this holistic view of business. One of the things that I think has been most important, for me to learn in the first 5 years of my career is that the best way that I can contribute and add value is when I can think about a business problem as sort of not within a functional siloed mindset. So I work in finance, and that's definitely my job and my role in the company. But I bring the most to my team when I can help everyone be a thought partner and think about the problem holistically. And that mindset absolutely comes from some of the courses that I took at Notre Dame with some great professors. A course called Judgment that really just looked at the holistic picture about how business leaders make decisions. Ethics and social responsibility in business, leadership, just the classes that get beyond the everyday hard skills that you absolutely have to learn, but that I think you're going to learn at any great MBA program. You're going to learn how to do, discounted cash flow and, LBO analyses and all that kind of stuff. So this is more the softer skills about how to think about the picture from all of the, or the problem from all of the angles and bring a holistic solution. Right. That's something that I do every day in my current job.
Right. And you do it all over again?
Yes, I would absolutely do it all over again.
Now, that triple jump that you achieved, you changed geography, sector, function. It's a big step in investing in yourself like that. So, what would your advice be to this next generation as they think about business school? Certainly, during the current downturn, the idea of going back to
Yes.
school, those skill sets they'll be able to develop, and how it sets them up for the next steps and opportunities in their career.
I think first, don't be afraid to do it. I was terrified. I was leaving a government job where, guaranteed, career progression, for the rest of my life if I wanted it. But if you're ready for something new, I would just counsel, don't be afraid to do it. It's the greatest decision I've made professionally in the last 15 years. And you will learn so much about yourself in addition to building your own concrete skills and capabilities. There is nothing better, I think, if you have the opportunity to do it, than to take 2 years to reinvest in your own professional development, in expanding your skills, in learning about how you can contribute to the world, maybe by just getting better at the job in the industry you're doing, or by switching completely. It's scary, but the right program is going to help you get through that and help you traverse all of those, sort of hurdles that are going to be in your way to set you up to succeed and flourish in a new industry. The second thing I would say is when you're looking at programs, the fit for me was the most important thing. I think, I said earlier, you're going to learn the business skills, you're going to learn the concrete capabilities and modeling and analysis that you need to learn in so many of these programs. But what matters the most is finding a program that shares your beliefs and your values, and it's going to make you a better place, and it's going to give you more than just the underlying sort of educational components, but speak to the things you're passionate about and push you to engage outside the classroom and become more passionate about those things, become more able to affect and have an impact on those things in the world. And that's really all about just finding the right fit in a program and making sure it's a place that shares your values, especially as you think about the long term and the recruiting process that they're going to be helping you with, the alumni resources after graduation. I still get help from Notre Dame all the time on career things, personal and professional development things. So think about the community that you're sort of choosing to be a part of for the rest of your professional life.
Well, sometimes some of the best decisions that we ever make were scary at the outset, and so it's great to be able to have your perspectives and clearly all of the opportunities that's opened up. Beth, thank you for joining us at CentreCourt to be able to share your story, and
of course,
stay safe and well, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.